Hey, everyone. I'm Matt. She's Becca. And this is Becca's Book Club Adventure.
Yep. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Read anything good lately?
Well, no. Yeah, yes and no. Obviously, if anybody's been watching our podcast, you know what we've read. But I did just get to go to the library because
Ooh.
Fourth Wing came in for my reservation.
You're taking the plunge.
I'm taking the plunge. That's right. But we're also in the middle of the Second Crescent City book. So part of me is, how am I going to juggle these two? Because up to this point, it's been like read a big romantasy book and then read these little 150, 250 page ones on the side. And that's been super easy. But if this Empyrean cycle, is that what it's called? The Empyrean cycle is as epic as these other big books. I'm wondering how my brain is going to keep two of them straight by reading them in tandem. So this is going to be quite the adventure.
Yes. That's why I've been so hesitant. I've gotten access to Onyx Storm and then the Dryad Storm and like several other big books on my Libby, and I keep delaying them. I'm like, I can't commit yet.
It almost makes me want to not read Crescent City.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks that that's a little sacrilegious.
I know. And we finally started it. So now that we've started, we can't go back.
No. I am not the kind of person that can start a series of books and take like a long break in between them. The only way I can do that is, for example, when I was reading The Wheel of Time and I had to literally wait for the next book to come out. But if the books are out, no, your boy's reading them.
Yep.
What about you?
I can take breaks between them, but if it's too long, then we're just reading for vibes, because I definitely don't recall the first full book, which actually brings us to today's review. Because I just finished reading the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series by Kerri Manascalco, is my best guess. And so the book I just finished was Kingdom of the Cursed. And so I also realized I never told you about the first one, Kingdom of the Wicked, which I read, I think, in November. And I just read Kingdom of the Cursed. So I would love to give a little review of those for you.
I would love to hear. I've never heard of this series. I've never heard of this author. Kerri Manascalco. I don't know. I'll correct it. We'll correct it in the subtitles. It'll be correct on screen. There you go. Okay. Well, before I let you tell me about this, we're going to thank today's fake sponsor. Cheap sunglasses. Believe it or not, cheap sunglasses are for more than just hangovers in the morning when the light hurts your head, but you're still trying to beat the masses. They go great with Levi's, slightly tight sweaters, and a West Coast strut. And side effects may include being as sweet as molasses and folks not knowing your name. You can use them as directed by your favorite beard sporting musician friends. And that's my plug for today.
I had a meeting where I almost misplaced my cheap sunglasses, and I spent a lot of time walking around just to find them in the bottom of my bag. And everyone was like, no, you need those sunglasses. Those are the best sunglasses.
I mean, yeah, ZZ Top was onto something. What can I say?
Right?
The 80s are back, baby. The 80s and the 90s are back.
Yeah, stop bringing back the aughts. Let's have the 80s.
Yeah. You know what really knocked me out? I need to hear me about some new books. So
okay,
go.
So, the Kingdom of the Wicked. So, first off, I found this from, of course, Book Talk, right? And this is all in the fall when it's like Spooktober season, right? And so this kind of falls in line with a really good Spooktober vibe. So I would definitely recommend during the fall to read it because it'll help you get into the Halloween spirit. And the story centers on Amelia. And
Okay.
Amelia is a twin living in, I don't recall which Italian city, but an Italian city. And she knows that she's a witch and that her twin is a witch, and she comes from a long family line of witches. But
Is she Italian or is she just living there?
she's Italian.
Score.
She's an
Okay.
Italian witch. Yep.
Wonderful.
And you can't be a witch, right? Not in such a Catholic world. So she's not really raised in the witches' lifestyle or with a lot of that information because they have to keep this all hidden. So they do know, like, a friend down the street is a witch. So she does know a few witches in the community, and there's like, an underground grouping of them. But this is not something that's common knowledge to the rest of the community.
Okay.
And the only thing that they really do with their witch skills at this point is maybe imbued a little passion into their restaurant. So they have a family restaurant called Sea and Vine. And this is where a lot of the book takes place because they live above the restaurant and they talk about food all the time. So if you don't want to read about food, this is actually not the book for you. And some of the critiques on different platforms are like, they just talk about food the whole time, which I will say in the second book, way less emphasis on food.
Okay.
So the premise of the story in the actual beginning, she's very close with her twin, and her twin have these necklaces or these cornicellos that her grandmother told them that they were never allowed to take off. And they have this moment when they're like 15 or something, and the one twin takes it off and then puts it back on. No big deal though, right? So they continue age, everything's fine. They get to be 18. So they're of consenting age in this book. And she's really good friends with, I forget, Antonio is his name. And she provides food for Antonio and the, I don't know, what are the brothers of the Catholic faith called? It's not a nunnery, it's the...
Oh, like monks?
Yeah, the monkhood. So she provides food to them. And so at one point, she's delivering the food to Antonio, and it's around Halloween, and Victoria scares them around the corner. Victoria is her twin, saying some creepy things about the devil. And then the next morning, Amelia wakes up, and her twin is dead.
Oh, snap.
In quite a brutal fashion. Her heart is gouged out, and this is how Amelia finds her.
Is her heart missing?
Her heart is missing. She's on an altar around a bunch of candles, and there's some patterns in the dust on the floor.
Oh, that's not ritualistic at all. Ooh.
No. So, of course, Amelia falls hard into depression because she lost her twin. And so eventually one day she wakes up and she decides it's time for revenge. No one knows who murdered her sister, but she is going to find out. And she will use any form of magic to get her there. And so she finds a grimoire in the floorboards that her sister had been holding on to. So now this begs the question, what kind of magic was Victoria using that got her in this situation? And Amelia decides, well, fuck it. She'll follow her footsteps if that's what it takes. So she opens up the grimoire and she casts one of the spells in it to call upon some help. And her help is given in the form of one of the 7 princes, who arrives begrudgingly after Amelia traps him earthside, I guess is the right way to say it. And so the story follows from there of him sort of ish, not really helping her figure out what the hell happened to her sister.
This is fascinating. So this is not classic romantasy. This is almost like a murder mystery. I'm
Oh
sure I'm
yes, it
sure
is a murder mystery.
I'm sure there's got to be some type of romantasy fantasy element here, but like murder mystery, that is a cool angle. Does the book end on a cliffhanger, or does it is it pretty nicely wrapped up but with space to expand?
Nope, big cliffhanger.
Does she stay on Earth the entire time, or does she
In this
leave this
book,
plane in this book? Is witch magic the only, we'll call it, kind of a celestial fantasy trope character? Other
um,
than the like the demon prince, whatever that she summons and traps.
I was gonna say yes and no. So there's witch magic, and then there's demon magic, and you do get to learn a little bit about demon magic, and it is the seven deadly sins.
Is there like enemies to lovers type of trope between Amelia and the demon prince?
Yes.
Nice, you gotta love it. And is Amelia not like other girls? Is she special?
There's really no other girls in it other than as she continues to hunt down what happened to Victoria, more witches get murdered. So she needs to figure out why other witches are
Oh,
getting murdered.
all right, I'm in. This sounds spooky. I've been on the side. I've been really enjoying Kathy Reich's novels, which for anybody that cares, that Kathy Reichs is the novelist who inspired everything about the TV show Bones. So all of
Mm.
them are murder mysteries, but from like a scientific standpoint. So that's sort of been my palate cleanser in between fantasy books. And oh man, I want a fantasy book that does that. That sounds so super cool. I'm in. That's awesome. What did you rate this thing? Do you remember?
I think I rated the first book at a five, maybe a
Oh,
four and a half, because it was a quick, good read. I didn't mind learning about the food because I like food,
I like
so
food.
that theme was fine.
Dude, Italian food is almost like porn
Mm-hmm.
because of my like gym bodybuilder type of lifestyle. I crave pasta all the time, but I don't let myself eat it. So I'm all in on the food part.
I rated the second book a little bit lower because Amelia is starting to get on my nerves, but we'll see where she advances in the third book.
Can you tell me why she gets on your nerves, or does that spoil things?
It doesn't spoil things. She keeps saying how she's got big plans, but then is also too naive to execute the plans. And I'm like, bro, it's one or the other.
You got to manifest that shit.
Yeah. And she does by the end, so she gets there. Uh, but it was a bit of a journey.
How long are these books? Are they quick short?
Yeah, they're like 300 pages.
Okay, so this is Witches and Demons, and we just recently read The Coven, which is also Witches and Demons. Could you do me a favor and kind of compare and contrast the two? Like, how dissimilar are they?
So there are really just dark witches' arts and light witches' arts in the Kingdom of the Wicked. So like scurrying is like dark witches' art where you try to see into the future, right? Which is you're not supposed to mess with the future. So you get more of your classical witches, I think, in the Kingdom of the Wicked. You also get a lot more of the demon magic because you get the seven deadly sins and like where that all arrives. The second book also goes way further into the demon magic, which is really nice. Like you get to learn about the demon world and who does what, who represents this, how they kind of function as a unit. And so that world is built really nicely in the second book, which is why even though I rated it a little lower, I'm still excited for the third book because I think the second book was a setup for the third. The second book ends on a really big cliffhanger again.
You know,
And you get more of those
something
dark arts.
that I find fascinating about how the landscape of publishing has changed. It seems to me that back in the 80s and the early 90s, uh, authors got publishing deals but the publishing houses were almost taking a chance on these people. So a lot of the books that authors wrote, they were tied up nicely. They were one and dones with room to expand, of course. But there's like beginning, middle, conflict, resolution. And it seems to me that because of the self-publishing and indie publishing movements, a lot of these writers are able to go, oh, I have a 7-book series in my head, and I'm just going to write that. And that is amazing to me. And I wonder how much of the books that we grew up with would have been different.
If that was an opportunity.
Like really think like we can always talk about like The Hobbit, for example, was a standalone one and done. That wasn't because of publishing. That was Gerald Tolkien's choice, and he almost got bullied into writing more. But like Robert Jordan and Terry Goodkind and Brooks and all of these writers, they all had these nice one and done encapsulated novels, and they would do that for like the first 3, and then the publishing houses were like, "Oh, you're actually good. Here, just go." And then book 4 through 10 or whatever would be whatever. Even Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. It was, you look at the first 3 books and they were all one and dones in case she didn't get another contract. And then after that, they all became fluid. So it's just fascinating, interesting. I like it. I like the change.
Yeah. It also gives us more 300-page books, which I do appreciate.
Well, I'm going to have to see if my library has this book. I think I'm going to take your advice, though, and I'm going to reserve it closer to October and see if I can get the next book in the Coven of Bones series also for October, and just sort of make a spooky month out of my fantasy reads.
Right? Like I would place all 3 on hold at the same time. Like I think you can finish each of them in a dedicated day or 3 days around each other.
Work be damned.
Well, I think that's all I got today.
All right. You read the first 2 books. Is the 3rd book out, or are we waiting on it?
That's a good question. I should know the answer.
We will Google.
I haven't looked into it.
We will GTS that. Okay, so if the anybody listening has read this, or maybe you have some other book recs for us, give us a shout. You can leave us a comment or a review. You can email us at bookclubbybecca@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at Becca's Book Club at Becca's Book Club Adventure. All one word, all lowercase. And if you do, we might take you up on your recommendation and or feature you in the next episode.
So until next time, get yourself a pair of cheap sunglasses and read some books. Thanks for listening.
See ya.